Hi, everyone, and welcome to our weekly coffee chat. I'm Trina. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and this is my best friend.
Dave, how are you
And,
guys? Cheers. Cheers,
and
coffee. Cheers. Whoops. Promoting my former employer.
Dave is my best friend, and he's really the reason why I work with men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So, this is a weekly coffee chat. If you've never watched it before, we just discuss topics that affect men's health and men's weight loss. And today we're going to be talking about making excuses,
We all do it.
especially David.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now you're hearing the abuse I get, but you guys are used to it. You're used to Trina dishing. That's why she's good. She doesn't put up with our crap.
Yeah.
Our
Well, I mean, I'm
excuses.
yeah, I'm the queen of making excuses too. So I think this year, at the beginning of the year, I don't usually make New Year's resolutions, but this year I really started before the new year to improve my fitness. So that's been something that I've been making excuses for many, many years. I mean, I'm still active. I walk, I hike, I do all kinds of things, but I've been telling myself for years that I don't like weight training. But of course, I'm in my mid 40s now, and as you guys know, as you're in your get, approaching 50 and then in your 50s and 60s, it's a lot harder to maintain muscle mass. So that's been my goal. And I'm not making excuses anymore. just,
Good.
I'm just doing it. But, maybe Dave, you can give some insight on, what it's like to be a man in your 50s and to make excuses for your health or for your weight.
Well, one of the biggest things you can say, especially as you get older, is, oh, I'm getting old. It's normal. It's normal to get a paunch on you. All my friends have one. And who really cares? I'm old, so I'll eat what I want and who
Oh,
cares? It's
oh,
basically who cares? I'm old. I've gone this far. I'm pretty healthy. That's
yeah.
another one. I'm doing well. You're doing well till it all collapses.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite thing to say? Oh, when I tell you that you shouldn't do things like drink too much beer, you're like,
Oh,
well, you have to die from something.
that's right. You have to talk. A former girlfriend kept saying that. She was she was more sympathetic than Trina.
You got to die from something. Yeah, but the real problem is that you might live for a really long time and have not have the quality of life that you want, right?
Yeah, that's the
Because
biggest thing. Quality of life. Your
yeah.
quality of life at you slowly will chip away at it. And then one day you'll look back and go, oh my God, I didn't have proper nutrition and it's finally caught up with me. I'm
Yeah.
however old, and now my quality of life is really, really bad because I've
Yeah.
been abusing myself for so long.
And I think that, you don't really you make all these excuses, right? But then they kind of compound. It's like compound interest,
Yeah.
like you put money in a mutual fund and it, compounds over time in a great way. But if you make excuses, like if you're like today, you're like, well, I don't feel like going for a walk. And then, and every day you're making the same excuse. So you're like, oh, it's just one more day, or it's just another couple months. Like I want to eat this ice cream, or I want to eat, go to Wendy's and have a burger, or all these sorts of things. It over time compounds, and not in a good way.
And also
Not like,
you set up patterns of behavior. It
yeah,
becomes normal to push things off and
yeah,
procrastinate and make excuses. Well, it's one more thing. Soon you won't be saying that it's one more thing. You'll just do it.
yeah.
It becomes a
And
behavior.
yeah, and I mean those, so one of my clients recently said it in a great way. Like, I've been abusing my body for 20 or 30, or no, I think, yeah, he was saying for like two plus decades. And now I'm in this position where it's hard. You've got lots of health problems, and maybe at that moment you want to make a change. Like this client really wants to make a change, and he's doing everything to make a change. And it's hard. It's hard to fix all these problems that have come from, 2 decades of excuses.
Yeah.
It,
That's the biggest thing, the excuses. And on a personal note, I know Trina's met my friend. He just recently passed away, and
yeah.
he was a very large man. He probably was close to 400. He was tall, at least 380 or something, but he passed away, and his health has been awful for decades.
Yeah.
And sure, he lived he died at 68, but I mean
That's young.
that's young, but I am as I approach 68, it's not when I want to die. Well, I don't want to die, but he abused his body. He just ate what he want, drank, and just didn't take control of his diet at all.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
really
and
sad. It's really sad because
well,
you're
he was a
dead, but
lovely
you
man.
leave
Yeah.
behind loved ones, and he was a
Yeah.
really loved man and
Yeah.
a
Well, he
good
was a
person.
lovely man. I mean, I knew him too, and I think that's also especially. I mean, I'm a little bit younger than you,
Yeah,
obviously. Well,
obviously. Even though I look better, you better post some encouragement, guys. I'm
I'm
fishing
like a
for
little bit,
compliments.
maybe a little more than a little bit younger than you. No, I'm
Uh,
just, I just
uh,
no, but I mean, as you start approaching, I think 60, and even for me, heading towards 50, you start seeing people in your life, like your friend, and I
yeah,
mean, I knew him as well, but
yeah,
you start seeing people die. You start seeing people have heart attacks. You start seeing people not doing well,
yeah.
and really not doing well. And I know my stepdad too. I think he was actually around your age, a little bit older, when he had quadruple bypass. And I mean, it's you see people's quality of life get worse, and how difficult that is, especially people you love and people you care about, and you don't want that to happen to you. So
No.
there comes a point where you have to stop making excuses,
Yeah,
right?
the excuses. Just look at yourself in the mirror and
Yeah.
and go, oh boy, I'm headed for a bad end. This will end badly.
Yeah.
And there's no question about it. It will.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to think about, what do you want? Like, what do you want as you get older? Like, what are the things that are important? Because you have a dad who's older, right?
Yeah,
He's very
yeah,
much older.
very much. He's 96.
Yeah. But he's had a decent quality of life, right?
Oh yeah.
He's mobile. He has his mobility. He, has been really on his own up until quite recently. And if that's what you want, maybe, not everyone wants to live to 96. I get that. But you still, like, for me, for example, like me doing some weight training and stuff like that now, as I get older, I want good mobility. I don't want to worry about falling. I don't want to worry about osteoporosis. I don't want to worry about those things. And you know having muscle mass, I know from the research I've done, is extremely important. Having good nutrition is extremely important. So I have the nutrition part down, but I need to stop making excuses for myself,
Yeah.
in the exercise department. But yeah, you just can't. It's not worth it. And I think in the moment you have to ask yourself that too. Like, when you're making that excuse to yourself, you're like, would this person that I want to be make this excuse, right? So if you're struggling with eating healthy, if you're struggling with poor health, and your ultimate goal is to be healthy, is to lose that weight, to keep it off and be healthy, in the moment you're making the excuse, you have to ask yourself, like, would this future version of myself that's healthy make this excuse?
Yeah. No,
Probably not,
probably
right?
not. No.
No, they get off their ass, excuse my language, and do the thing, which is what I've been doing now. It's just like, do I feel like doing this workout? Not really. But, it's like, what I think it's somewhere on the internet. I can't remember who did it, but you can just tell yourself, when you're about to make an excuse, count down from five, five, four, three, two, one, and then just do the damn thing.
Yeah,
It
that's a
doesn't
good one.
take that long.
No.
If you're like, I don't want to make myself a healthy breakfast, well, what's the alternative, right?
And then you'll just keep not making a healthy breakfast, not weight training.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah,
not it's easier not to do things than do things.
of course it is.
And so we take the path of least resistance, which is the wrong path.
Yeah, and then your brain, and then you just do things without thinking.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
problem.
what happens. The
Yeah,
excuses become you. You are
yeah,
a big excuse make not
yeah,
not in the way it sounds, but
yeah,
you just take on new behaviors such as eating poorly, not exercising.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have to realize too that over time when you make all these excuses, you take that you become that person who makes excuses.
Yeah,
So you take on that
exactly.
identity. You're like, well, oh well, I'm just the person who, starts on Monday and quits by Wednesday, my healthy eating plan, and that's it.
Yeah.
And every week it's the same, but then you take on that identity. You're like, oh, that's just the person I am, but it's not.
You
No.
can change who you are by,
Yeah. Well,
well, I mean,
well,
change your behavior.
yeah, you can change. I mean, you and I were talking about this recently. Like, you fundamentally are this person that you are, but your behavior is not set in stone, and your habits aren't set in stone. And you
No.
need to, yeah, you need to tell yourself you're somebody different. So if you want to be healthy, you need to say, well, what would a healthy person do, or what would healthy Trina do?
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
But
or if you go
go on,
ahead,
sorry.
no, you go.
Okay, looking at the future, if the excuses you're making now, will they lead you to being the person you want to be? Will you be, are you good the way you are?
Yeah.
I'm good enough. Well, maybe not.
Well, and that's a slippery slope. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're staring at 6 or 7 daily meds that you have to take, and you're waking up feeling exhausted, and like your friend that just passed away,
Oh,
right? Like
he struggled moving and getting in his car, getting out. Life became a struggle.
yeah.
It's really sad to watch.
Well, that's the thing. And so, but if your life right now is a struggle, you need to you need to stop making excuses, and you need to take some action. It doesn't have to be drastic action.
No,
But
definitely not drastic. We've talked about that before.
no, slow and steady.
Slow and steady. That's what we said. That's on a
Yeah, but that's
previous
that's
spot.
the
But
truth.
it's definitely the way. You're not
Yeah,
gonna
and
undo things overnight.
no, but just even if you're in a position like, say, like your friend was in, right, where mobility was an issue, because people think, oh, I can't go to the gym, I can't work out, I don't have energy, but you don't even need to do any of those things. You
Yeah.
just need to change your nutrition. And you can just start by changing one meal a day. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to change everything. It could literally be, I'm going to change my breakfast every day. I'm going to have this. And if you just do that, it
Yeah.
starts to create this momentum of not making excuses, and of feeling better
Actually,
slowly.
the biggest, it's funny you mentioned, just sort of an aside, a tangent, of course. Uh, you mentioned breakfast, and that's one of the big things Trina changed in my life.
Yeah,
I
that's
changed
true.
my breakfast, and I had this, I won't go into it, but I changed my breakfast, and it made a huge difference.
Huge, right?
Huge.
Yeah. And so sometimes, you don't even, well, and I think that's the problem. You were eating healthy at the time that I helped you lose your belly, and
Yeah,
helped you lose weight. But even if you're eating healthy food, sometimes, quote unquote healthy, you
healthy.
just,
Yeah,
yeah, but is that healthy? Is it healthy for a kid? Is it healthy for a woman who's 35? Is it healthy for a man who's 20? Or is it healthy for you? as
yeah. You have to look at
Yeah.
you as you're an individual. You're different than me. I'm
Yeah,
different
of
than
course.
everybody out there. We have
Yeah.
similarities, but we all
Yeah.
have different needs. And
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but I mean, bottom line is, you know, it, it's not worth it to make the excuses. It's not worth it to be this person who just makes excuses. And I don't, I'm not up on some pedestal. Like, I make excuses all the time.
yeah, I
But
know. So do
oh yeah,
I. So do
yeah,
I. So do I. I'm guilty, guilty.
yeah. Well, everybody's guilty of it, but I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
it's finding, also maybe to not make excuses is find someone you can be accountable to, right? Like, I'm gonna bust your balls a little bit about, yeah, other way.
Yeah, sorry, because
But yeah, no, no, no. But you find somebody. It doesn't have to be me. It could be your friend. It could be your partner. It could be anybody.
Yeah,
But you got to be accountable to somebody because otherwise it's pretty easy to make excuses.
yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Good.
Anyway, well, we can end before we start rambling, I think.
Yeah, you may have noticed we ramble.
Just a little bit. This is
Just a
not
little.
nearly as bad as when we're together.
Anyway, guys, take care. No excuses.
Yeah. Okay, bye. See you next time.
Take care. Bye.